Yeah, that sucked. That was embarrassing. That was really embarrassing that in the pivotal Game 5, where the winner of that game normally goes on to win the series, in the most important game of the year for the San Antonio Spurs, they just come out lazy. They look like they don't want to be there. They look disinterested. They said that Oklahoma City was the more desperate team and they wanted it more. Why did you not want it more, San Antonio? Why didn't you want it more? That's a bigger question. Why did you not want it more? That's what's going to leave me shaking my head tonight. You lay out the entire game plan to beat this team in a dominating Game 4 victory, and none of that is there in Game 5. None of it. None of it is there. Victor Wembanyama is not involved. He takes 15 shots tonight. He took 17 in the first half of Game 4. You played with pace. You controlled the tempo. You played through your exciting guards. You got downhill. You penetrated. You moved the ball. No isolation. No double teams. Where was that? That's why I'm mad. That's why I'm frustrated, because I saw a team in Game 4 that looked like they could win this series, and then they just disappeared. I don't know if this finger goes on Mitch Johnson. I don't know if it goes on Victor Wembanyama. I want to partially say you got to point the finger at the refs, but outside of that one sequence in the end of the third, they weren't even that bad. They wasn't even terrible. The Spurs just played lazy. It looked like a regular season effort in the most important game of the year, and that is why I'm frustrated tonight. Wemby looked non-existent. He looked lazy. He settled for threes. He wasn't really trying to get downhill. He wasn't in the dunker spot. He was constantly looking to take jumpers. Try and go one-on-one. Like, he is 7'8". Why are we not looking to get this dude looks underneath the basket? Truly, it's confusing. It just really is. He had 5 rebounds. 5. 7'9". And you're getting 5 rebounds. I watched Cason Wallace out-rebound Victor Wembanyama late in the game. That's when I knew it was over. When Cason Wallace, who was a foot shorter, is getting rebounds than Victor Wembanyama. That was his worst showing of the series and maybe his worst showing of the postseason, and that's not even close. Of course, that doesn't count the game he got concussed or the game where he threw an elbow at Naz Reid. It doesn't. Our guards, like Dylan Harper, was non-existent. Careless turnovers, and it looked like he was just giving Oklahoma City the ball. De'Aaron Fox, I know you're injured, but some of these shots, man, they gotta fall. His shot selection wasn't even bad. I was very pleased with the shots that De'Aaron Fox was looking to get, but he was non-existent. Stephon Castle had a terrible start, and he was probably the best player for the Spurs. And this sucks because the defining factor all series has been the role players for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Spurs role players finally stepped up. Julian Champagnie had it going all night. Keldon Johnson was a big reason why the Spurs stayed in the game at times. And the starters, your all-stars, just disappeared. Greg Popovich came in after Game 3 and ripped him a new one. I would not be surprised if the same thing happens, because that was utterly lazy. They just didn't look like a team that was desperate. And Oklahoma City was the more desperate team. And after the game, Stephon Castle said, yeah, they were the more desperate team. They wanted it more than us. Why did you not want it? That raises a bigger question. Why did you not want this game more? I don't know. I got nothing. Devin Vassell, who has been good all series, just disappeared. Luke Cornett continued to be unplayable. Carter Bryant had 4 good minutes. Got a dunk, got a 3, got some confidence going, and then he was never seen until the end of the game. I'm just confused. I'm confused at how you lay out a perfect game plan in Game 4 and you just proceed to do none of it in Game 5. I'm genuinely confused. Where was playing to the transition speed of your guards? Where was getting Victor Wembanyama involved? Where was the intensity on defense that we saw in Game 4? It wasn't there. The one time I saw defensive intensity like I saw in Game 4 was when Stephon Castle locked up SGA in the second quarter when it was 41-45, and he just stole the ball, had him in a straitjacket, and the Spurs got out in transition, and they scored. Who would have thought? that when you do the things that has been your identity all season, you find success. But now it's a do or die game. It's a do or die game in your home arena. And sure, that sounds better than the idea of a do or die game in Oklahoma City. But who knows? If they get game 6, we're going to see it. We're going to see a do or die game in Oklahoma City. But the Spurs have to come out strong because Oklahoma City is going to be ready to punch its ticket to the NBA Finals. But it's just, I'm confused. I am literally leaving this game confused as to where was everything that worked in game 4. Why was it tried in the final minutes of the game when the game was over? Why? What is going to have to change for the Spurs to play the consistent way that they know they can play for a 7-game series? Because that looked lazy. You had the opportunity to take game 5 in Oklahoma City and come home and close it out in front of your fans? To punch your first trip to the finals since 2014? And that's the effort you give? Like, I still think the Spurs can win this series. It's perfectly possible. But after watching that, I don't feel so great. Even though I have belief that it can still be done. I said that the Thunder's performance in Game 4 was going to be a fluke. And that they were going to probably throw their best punch in Game 5. Alex Caruso, 22 points. At some point, they'll try and guard him. I'm not sure when, but they will. Jared McCain. I mean, that dude's a hooper. I cannot believe that the Oklahoma City Thunder got Jared McCain for pennies on the dollar. Daryl Morey said he's selling high. I got nothing. Jared McCain is torching the Spurs in 2 of the biggest games. Chet Holmgren, 16 and 11. That was the best performance of Chet Holmgren's entire postseason. That looked like the All-NBA player that he was just awarded. The Thunder role players, once again, created the margin. They were the difference. SGA, 30 points. And I know, I'm going to say it, 17 free throw attempts. I mean, what are we doing? Why are we awarding some of this behavior? Oklahoma City fans, I know I haven't been complaining about the refs too much. I'm not going to do that much either. I'm just going to point that out. 17 free throws for SGA. I mean, come on, bro. What are we doing? And just give me one more minute, Oklahoma City fans, so I can talk about the refs. And then that's it. Because I'm not even blaming them. The Spurs played utterly lazy. Sure, the refs may have had some say in it, but guess what? I'm not pointing the finger directly at the refs. I'm not. The Spurs came out flat. And there was nothing that they were going to do to win this game. But at the end of the third quarter, when Cason Wallace gets to play FIBA rules and block shots above the rim, and they're going to call out of bounds off Chet Holmgren's foot clearly, Mitch is not going to get a challenge. Maybe he didn't get the timeout in time, but he was going to sub in Castle so he could get a second look at it, and the ball was already in play. Did he get the timeout off? I'm not sure. But that whole third quarter sequence was really bad, and that made me question the integrity of the officiating of that game. But like I said, I'm not going to point the finger directly at them. I'm going to give Oklahoma City all the credit because they took advantage of a lazy Spurs team. They were more desperate. They understand what it takes to win a crucial Game 5 and feed off your home crowd energy. And that's what the Spurs did in Game 4, and Oklahoma City did it right back in Game 5. Oklahoma City looked like a team that has won an NBA title. They did. You know, Shai was going all game. Their role players were stepping up. And it's just been the trend all series. The bench scoring margin. Alex Caruso was a 29% free three-point shooter, and they're continuing to still let him shoot. Why? God knows. Jared McCain. That dude is just hooping. Like I said, that dude is just hooping. I know J. Will got a huge 3, but the role players have been the difference in this series. And you got to give credit where credit's due to Oklahoma City. They took advantage of a disinterested Spurs team. Disinterested. They really did. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch Game 4 and see how much success the Spurs had in that game. And then not even 48 hours later, just barely 48 hours later, they lay out an effort like this. Sure, the Spurs are probably fatigued. They haven't had a lot of long breaks. They're playing every other day. Travel with one day in between. I get it. But this is the Western Conference Finals. It's time to lay your life on the line for everything. And the Spurs did not do that. Oklahoma City did. And that's why I'm mad tonight. because the Spurs looked lazy and they looked disinterested. And now you have to go back home to even have a chance to win this series. To even have a chance. You got to even it up. Do or die. Spurs, Wemby, Mitch Johnson, are you a man or are you a mouse? We'll see. To make sure you don't miss my Game 6 reaction video, first of all, drop a like on this one, subscribe, and hit that post notification bell so you never miss my latest game reaction videos. Regardless of if the Spurs make the finals or not, I will be doing these videos for the Thunder and the Knicks if that's what it turns out to be. So make sure you got those notifications on so you never miss a reaction video here. And until next time, this is Ty Talk Sports signing off.